Hello, my name is Malavika. I am an assistant professor in history at a university in Andhra Pradesh. I have submitted my doctoral thesis on the theme of knowledge production, bodies and identities in pre-modern Kerala at the Center for Historical Studies at Jawaharlal Nehru University. So, why do I call this channel When Gender Speaks? Or why do you need yet another YouTube channel, and why particularly on gender? These might be some of the questions that will be posed to me, or that I am trying to take up in this particular video. One of the reasons why I thought of a YouTube channel was because a lot of my students, even when I'm teaching them about other aspects of history, ask me a lot of questions about gender. Similarly, because of the recent Supreme Court verdicts in India, three verdicts in particular, which came out in the recent months, there is a lot of questioning on gender, what gender means, how gender reacts and responds and interacts in a particular society. So all these questions emerged because of the Supreme Court verdict on three issues. One was the decriminalization of adultery. The second was on Section 377, revoking it. The third was on the Shabrimala women's entry issue. So, given this background, not only my students, a lot of my friends and non-friends and Facebook friends, people who know that I've been working on gender for a couple of years now, ask me a lot of questions, and I'm trying to address those questions through this particular video. I'm thinking of it as a web series where we will be taking a couple of questions in every single episode. I know that once you reach here and once you understood that this particular series is going to be on gender, there are many of us, women, men, transgender, a lot of people who would sort of swipe right and think this video is not relevant to them. This is the same case with gender, and talking about gender, that we tend to trivialize and infantilize the issue of gender. Though all of us, on an everyday basis, on an every moment basis, we know that we are gendered beings, and we continually interact with this phenomena called gender. So let me also tell you that gender does not mean women. Gender does not mean women and the queer community. Gender is a phenomena that affects all of us: men, women, children, transgendered people, intersex people, all of us. So we need to increasingly speak about it, and unless we speak about it, it will continue to be a discriminatory phenomenon. See, for instance, the whole issue about Shabrimala emerges from this question of menstruation, and this is a question which has been swept under the rug for millennia in India. And because there is such a notion of pollution attached with that of menstruation in particular communities, it is understood that this particular notion is the notion, or a universal notion across India, when among a lot of other communities, and probably the other communities are the majority in this country. There are a lot of communities. What I'm trying to say is there are a lot of communities which do not consider menstruation to be pollution, or a menstruating woman to be a woman who is under pollution. But that is not being spoken about in the mainstream media. That is not being discussed at all, and this emerges from a culture of silencing. So and this is and again one has to remember that gender is not something that is associated only with women, but it has an equal repercussion on men as well. For instance, when I go to a restaurant with a male friend, or when any two people of one who's a male and one who's a female go to a restaurant and they have a coffee together, invariably at the when you're about to leave, or when the check comes to your table, the bill is always placed in front of the man, irrespective of the fact that the woman might be the earning member in that family, or the woman might be of a better financial position, or the woman might be the person who had initiated that conversation. I mean, had invited that person for a cup of coffee. Now, this is a gendered notion where it is always understood that if you go on a date, if you go out for dinner, it is the male who has to pay. Similarly, it is always a man who is thought of as the earning member. So I teach in a university where I also teach engineering students, and my in my engineering class, about 70% of the student population is male, and I also teach the arts section where 70 to 80% of my student population is female. That this is a political question where why do you have the engineering department being predominantly uh, why do the engineering department has a predominantly male student population, and why is it that liberal arts or BA BSc courses are pursued predominantly by female students? Now it is also because parents tend to invest more, or parents tend to push boys more towards engineering or medicine because they are thought to be the ones who have to look after the family. They are the ones who are responsible to get their sisters married off, whether the sisters are younger or older than them. They are the ones that who have to look after their aging parents. They are the ones who have to bring in salary after they reach a particular age. The girls, on the other hand, this particular 3 or 4 year period between when they move out of school and when they're married, they have to be engaged in some manner. So these women who go to BA and BSc, uh, go to learn BA and BSc, they're thought of as being parked, or they're sort of warming the bench for a particular period of time till they are of marriageable age or till the family finds a suitable alliance for them. So this lets off a lot of pressure for the girls. But in the case of male students, they're under so much pressure to be placed somewhere. And so in the fourth year of the university, I see a lot of students who are under so much pressure that they're cracking under that kind of a pressure. They're depressed. They do everything to make sure that they are placed. Now, even within these engineering students, there may be only 20% of them who are actually interested in engineering. I see a lot of students who might have made wonderful poets, who may have been beautiful painters, who may have contributed so much in the field of literature, but they cannot afford to do so. Why? Because their parents would insist them to join engineering so that by the time they're 22, 23 years of age, they will get a job, and they will then look after the family. So imagine how much of a loss is it to the world, and to the economy and to our nation in particular, that we are losing such brilliant poets because they are in the mad rush to get a job. We are losing such brilliant painters, poets, singers, actors, because you simply do not have since you're a male, you simply do not have the possibility to pursue something that you wish, or you do not have the possibility to pursue something unless you have a steady enough job to back you. So this is another way in which gender works. So as you can see from the example, gender is a phenomena which impacts men and women and all people everywhere in the world. And as Bell Hooks puts it, feminism is for everybody. Feminism is, and let me also say, feminism is not against a particular category of people. Feminism is not against men, feminism is not against women, feminism is not against a particular religion, feminism is against a system called patriarchy. And patriarchy does not mean men ruling over the world. Patriarchy is a system which emerges from a particular worldview where a section of the population is considered to be inferior to another section. So it is this system that you and I and everyone who believes in equality and everyone who is human on this planet should stand together and fight. And it is this fight that has been put or that the feminists have tried to fight for such a long period. I have even seen women who very proudly declare that they are not feminists. And somewhere, and I keep thinking that the very fact that they can openly come and speak about such things uh, is the result of the feminist struggle which has happened over the last 200 years or so. Now, that's a topic for another video. Today, what we will be trying to discuss is the idea of gender and sex. So, what is gender, what is sex, what is the difference between the two. Let's try to understand.